Hello, and welcome. Today's story takes us deep into one of the most remote regions on Earth. A place where dense jungles meet vast rivers, and modern civilization fades into ancient tradition. In 1961, a young American man vanished during an expedition in New Guinea. He was intelligent, privileged, adventurous, and driven by curiosity rather than fear. His name was Michael Rockefeller. And more than 60 years later, no one knows what truly happened to him. This is the story of a disappearance that still echoes through history. The year is 1961. The world is changing rapidly. Post-war exploration is giving way to anthropology and cultural study. Western researchers are traveling to remote regions to document traditions that have existed for centuries. Michael Rockefeller was 23 years old. He came from one of the most powerful families in America. But he wasn't interested in business or politics. He was drawn to culture, to history, to human identity. Michael had studied anthropology. He was fascinated by indigenous art and ritual, and he wanted to experience it firsthand. He traveled to what was then Dutch New Guinea, now part of modern-day Papua, Indonesia, to collect artifacts for a museum project. He joined an expedition focused on the Asmat people, an isolated tribal group living in river delta regions, known for their complex spiritual traditions and strong warrior culture. To Michael, this wasn't danger. It was discovery. To him, this was the future of his life's work. On November 18, 1961, Michael and his Dutch guide, René Woosing, were traveling by small catamaran along the coast. Their goal was simple: reach local villages, build relationships, and trade for cultural artifacts. But the sea was rough, the current was strong, and the boats began taking on water. Eventually, the catamaran capsized. They were left stranded in the ocean, miles from shore, with debris floating around them. They clung to the overturned boat for hours. As the tide pushed them farther from land, Michael made a decision. He tied empty fuel cans to his waist as flotation and said words that would become famous. "I think I can make it." Then he entered the water and began swimming toward the distant shoreline. René stayed with the boat. Michael Rockefeller was never seen again. Search efforts began almost immediately. Planes flew overhead. Boats combed the shoreline. Local villagers were questioned. Rivers were searched. No body was found. No clothing. No tools. No remains. The ocean theory suggested he drowned. But the currents did not support this fully. Search teams expected something to surface. Nothing ever did. Another theory emerged quietly at first, then louder, then impossible to ignore. The Asmat people were known to practice ritual warfare. At the time, intertribal violence and ritual killing still existed in some regions. Some missionaries and local informants claimed that a white man had reached shore and entered tribal territory. There were whispers, rumors, unverified accounts, but no physical evidence. No confirmed witnesses. No proof. Just silence. The case slowly became less about evidence and more about possibility. There were no arrests, no charges, no formal conclusions. The Rockefeller family funded searches. They worked with governments. They financed expeditions. They offered rewards. Years passed, then decades. The official record listed Michael Rockefeller as missing at sea. But unofficially, the mystery only grew. Books were written. Investigations reopened. Journalists returned to the region. Still, no answers. The jungle kept its secrets. Did Michael drown, overcome by exhaustion and current? Did he reach land only to die from injury or exposure? Or did he enter a world that had no connection to his own end, never return? Why was no trace ever found? Why were there no physical remains? Why did the stories persist without proof? What matters most is this: no theory has ever been confirmed. No evidence has ever closed the case. No conclusion has ever been proven. Michael Rockefeller did not just disappear physically. He disappeared into uncertainty. And uncertainty is where this story still lives. Michael Rockefeller went searching for understanding, for culture, for connection, for meaning beyond privilege. Instead, he became part of a mystery that still spans continents and generations. His disappearance is not just a historical question, it's a human one. What happens when curiosity meets the unknown? When exploration meets isolation? When modern ambition meets ancient worlds? If you found this story meaningful, I invite you to reflect on it. To think about the risks we take and the worlds we don't fully understand. You're welcome to subscribe for more true stories told with respect and care. And if you choose to comment, please do so thoughtfully and respectfully. Because behind every mystery is a real human life. And behind every disappearance is a family that never stopped waiting. Thank you for listening.